Chapter 3, One Piece Flow. The following weeks were like a religious retreat for me, an immersion into a new way of thinking. After my introduction to the power of eliminating waste and the concept of continuous improvement, I was introduced to the idea of one-piece flow, or making one product at a time. This concept is about as counterintuitive as it can get to the modern American mind. For the past century, our culture has been steeped in the manufacturing economy that relies on mass production. We live in the era of bigger is better, supersize me, and if something is good, more is better, right? FastCap was no exception. We operated our shop floor in a mass production big batch mode of thinking, which is exactly the opposite of one-piece flow. At FastCap, we produce large batches of products regardless of how many orders we had from customers, because we believed we were saving time and money. As it turned out, we were creating more work and mountains of waste using the batch production model. We produce one of our products, called the Laser Jam, in a batch of 100. By our own calculations, it took about 45 minutes to produce each Laser Jam. A batch of 100 took us about 75 work hours to complete from beginning to end. By producing them in batches of 100, we thought we were saving time, ensuring that we always had the product on hand to fill orders as they came in. When Brad and John suggested we start making these one at a time and only made on an order-by-order basis, I thought they were out of their minds. I believe my actual words were, "No, that will never work." There's some saying about teaching an old dog new tricks. That comes to mind right now. The manufacturing environment I had created required enormous amounts of space dedicated towards making this product. Making them in batches of 100 meant that we needed to accommodate 100 Laser Jams for each step of the process. For starters, we needed enough workbench space to hold 100 Laser Jams at a time. This created a very spread out situation that required transportation resources to move the Laser Jam from one part of the plant to another. The batch production process was consuming our space, equipment, and personnel resources and money. I looked at this as a necessary evil in exchange for efficiency. Making 100 at a time made the most sense to me. In humble compliance to Brad and John's recommendation, we started making one Laser Jam at a time. By any experienced manufacturer's first glance, this process would be too tedious and time-consuming to make sense. I was eager to show these so-called experts what a futile process this was going to be. I was humoring them, or so I thought. They spent the first week rearranging everything we did into small U-shaped manufacturing cells. My company started to look like some Asian revolution had invaded, and I was the victim. Remember how much confidence I had in my great company and my manufacturing ability? Well, it was nothing short of humiliating watching these young, inexperienced kids rearrange almost everything about our company, stripping our shop floor to the most fundamental components. It was like somebody saying, "Paul, your baby's ugly." We'll take it from here. So much for my young, hip company. What do you think happened? Once again, my eyes were open to the magic of lean thinking. Using one-piece flow, each Laser Jam was produced from beginning to end by one person who was able to visually inspect the whole process as he or she assembled it. This one-at-a-time process allowed us to catch mistakes as they were happening. Perhaps a hole was off-center, or maybe a knob was not screwed on correctly. Whatever the mistake, we were able to catch it during the production process for each Laser Jam, rather than at the end of the batch. Fixing one defective Laser Jam is easy. Having to fix 100 defective Laser Jams at the end of a batch is a disaster. Improvements like these had a transformative ripple effect as well. Not only did we see each product getting produced with more personalized care, attention, and very few mistakes, if any, but the rest of the process began to go more smoothly as well. Filling the orders, loading, shipping, billing, and the back and forth cash flow associated with this process was immediately simplified. Rather than having 100 laser jams to store, inventory, and track, we had 0 because each laser jam was produced to fill an order. It was produced, packaged, boxed, shipped, and paid for. This also meant that we weren't spending money producing something that hadn't been sold. We had a lot less inventory and labor hours sitting on the shelf. Imagine that. A good visual is to imagine all the finished goods as though they were heads of lettuce wilting by the hour. One-piece flow simplified and improved every other part of the manufacturing process. The lean thinking was beginning to make sense to me in a really counterintuitive way.
The one thing, make a batch and waste will be everywhere. Make one, make it right, and waste will magically disappear. Hey everyone, Dave Lonic, Sticky Air Finishing Solutions and AMT Innovations. So April 1st, 2019, we started our lean journey with the coaching of Paul Akers. No, it's not an April Fool's joke. So we've been at this at the time of this video about 2.5 years, and our small company has dramatically changed for the better. We make improvements every single day. We've made thousands of improvements at this point. We started off, we were focusing on really waste of motion, just getting tools in the proper place and things of that nature. Then we started working on tuning ourselves and just making things better that way. So as a manufacturer and a design engineer of 30 years, the concept of one-piece flow was something that took me a long time to grasp, because as a CNC company, we were used to making everything in batches, CNC turn, then CNC mill, then perhaps deburr, moving batches from station to station and having all this transportation waste and not really utilizing the operator time during each of the processes. So again, we might turn, mill, deburr, glass bead, laser, assemble, pack. And what we learned is you don't even have to adopt 100% one-piece flow, because you can't send things outside to be heat treated one at a time or for plating one at a time. But what we learned is that if we do things in small cells, and maybe we turn one part and then we put it right in the mill, and then we deburr it, and then maybe we laser it all in a circular flow and yield one finished part at a time, it's way, way more effective than doing batches and not having all the waste. And of course, if you make a defect, you find it on one part, not throughout your whole batch. So that's been a great concept for us that took a long time to get our heads around. The other thing that has really, really made us a much better company with lean, probably the most important, is taking time to develop your people. You have talent in your organization, and when you don't develop those people, you're just throwing it all away. So for us, it's been a great thing, and I would never go backwards. I hope everybody is enjoying this video book, and I hope everybody's learning, and I wish you success on your lean journey. Thanks for watching. I was very fortunate to attend the Japan Study Mission Team 31, November 2019. I highly recommend it for anybody that has the opportunity to do this. Thank you.
A couple videos I want you to consider for this chapter. Lean FastCap style. This is one of our most famous ones. It's pretty long, about 20 minutes, but it really goes through the process of taking a process and reducing it down to just a few seconds from like 45 seconds. People love it, and Megan did a great job, and all the other employees who were in this video did a great job as well. Lean batch work versus one-piece flow is another great one, and lean cutter change. This kind of shows how quickly we're able to change dies in and out of our machine because of our lean thinking.